Adiyaman, Turkey, a rich confluence of history and vibrant culture. Nestled in the southeastern Anatolia region, Adiyaman and its district, Kata, have been cradles of civilization for millennia. But amidst its architectural wonders and age-old tradition lies a modern pursuit. Reimagining social and environmental sustainability and economic sustenance after a natural disaster. Journalists, chefs and academics met in Adiyaman in August 2023 to formulate new manners in which the intersection between food and sustainability can leverage the region's culinary heritage to secure a more sustainable future.
Really, we are bringing food, culinary practices, gastronomical trends to come to this place and discuss their own internal global issues of sustainability, and in that way how we can build a future that is resilient in food, resilient in economy, but also resilient communities and societies.
To truly realise this vision, we must immerse ourselves in the rich tapestry of Adiyaman's culture and the bountiful fruits of its land. It's about uncovering and celebrating the unique culinary traditions and diverse agricultural produce that form the bedrock of the region's gastronomic identity. This exploration is key to unlocking the full spectrum of Adiyaman's ecological and cultural potential, transforming them into sustainable treasures.
Cultural intersections have contributed to cuisine completely. It's not a question of how or if, it is how food has evolved over time. The more you study food traditions, the more you realize that every tradition is interlinked with another tradition. They don't exist in isolation. And for a culture to evolve, it needs to be permeable and to allow contamination. I think traditions that have failed to change have not stood the test of time, and you can see them perishing over time. I think the relevance of a food culture is very much in its flexibility in the way it adapts all the time. You see in the region we're in right now, a substantial amount of the products that we consume on a day-to-day basis have products that are not native to this place, but that have been magically and beautifully adapted to the traditions of this place. Tomatoes, for example, or peppers, or eggplants, or cucumbers, these are very much not endemic to this part of the world, but they have been brought over time and generation. Actually, the beauty of this place specifically is that it was such a hybrid thoroughfare of information and ingredient coming over and through it all the time, right?
In Adiyaman, food isn't just about nourishment. Communal agriculture, meals, and cooking are all building blocks of community and preserving culinary traditions for generations to come.
Adiyaman is located in the southeastern part of Turkey. And this city, in that sense, is reflecting many of the features of the culinary cultures of the region in general. The spicy foods are very popular here. The meat dishes are very popular. The kebabs, again, are very, very popular. And, there are sweet dishes like baklavas and kadayıfs and, different kinds of halwa. Again, something you would see in many other places in the region, and in Adiyaman they are also very, very popular. So it reflects the culinary riches of the region in a considerable manner.
In trying times, every dish we prepare is more than just a meal. It's a symbol of hope and resilience. Chefs hold a unique position at the crossroads of culture, cuisine, and conservation.
I think the role of chefs in the road to net zero is crucial. It's very much pivotal. Chefs are catalysts, I think, for change in the food industry. We innovate, we show the way as to how we can manipulate product in a positive way, use waste in creative and meaningful ways. We can't do it alone. We need help from obviously all stakeholders, from producers to big business and consumers. But ultimately, I think things that happen in a microcosm of a small kitchen can have an impact in ways that are super large. And we're starting to see that more and more these days. Also, chefs cultivate habits, right? And depending on particular trends, these habits can have a very meaningful impact and promote change in a positive way. And so the things that we decide to cook for people have the potential to, in scale, really affect the way the planet works.
There's definitely room for public institutions, private institutions, food companies and governments to invest in research and development, to identify the sustainability practices that traditional societies have been using for over many years, going back generations.
I think some of the responsibilities that chef and food businesses need to look into start with looking back into their history as much as they're trying to innovate and go forward, thinking about that philosophy at every level, not just from what ends up at a restaurant, but from what happens at enterprise, the decisions that happen at a corporate level. And I don't really see a sustainable future without having a massive global conversation. There's a lot of particular education that you find in certain places that can be translated in practice to agriculture on the other side of the world. And so we are all collectively global citizens. I think the chef's job innately is to inform people of what that responsibility looks like.
When we travel and we interact with these cultures, they need a lot of resources to maintain what they're doing. The pineapple farmer needs resources to maintain their crop, to transform their crop, whether it be drying it, freeze drying it, to find different methods of sustaining themselves. There's a lot of ways we can give back. We can give back by sharing their voice, sharing their knowledge. If we go to a place and there's these recipes that they're practicing, we would acknowledge them in our magazine and in our journal, and hopefully bring awareness to these smaller communities, even if it means someone seeing it, someone caring, someone taking the time to actually go there again after us and meet with these people and see what they need and see how they can help them. Just letting the world know that these people exist, I think it's one way that we can give back.
However, as a society, it is important to join the conversation to identify and lift barriers that can lead to the adoption of sustainable practices.
I think the biggest barrier to making change in the food system is knowledge. And I think I say knowledge because it's a very complex system, and I don't think it's black and white. I think that a lot of times people try to pit the industrial system against the organic system, and that's too simplistic, because in between there's a lot of good people doing good work, potentially doing the conversion from one side to the other. But in between, they're not necessarily always getting the support or the acknowledgement. And that's really challenging. I think we need less judgment. I think we need more knowledge. And I think we have to help each other come to a place of conversion and acceptance and have more dialogue around how we strengthen our food system.
I mean, sustainability issue is not something environmental only, right? I mean, it's much more than that. There are social issues, there are economical issues, there are even cultural issues that you need to take into account in order to make sustainability concept work, right, in practice. So in that sense, we need to take sustainability in its broader meaning, right? Otherwise, focusing only on environmental issues does not really take us to a meaningful direction.
In a series of engaging community interactions, blending cooking and learning about the region's foods, a powerful realisation surfaced. Central to this was the formation of cooperatives, empowering local producers to extend the reach of Adiyaman's products beyond its borders.
One of the most vulnerable, part of the population here, women, rural women, actually coming together and establishing cooperatives, right? This was a very kind of a positive development for sustainability purposes, I would say. Now, this is a very big question, right? Whether these kinds of initiatives are going to continue or not. In order to have a better future in Adiyaman, right? For women, for other kinds of vulnerable communities, including kids, right? These kinds of initiatives, which are organized around solidarity economies, are very, very important, right? So we need to make sure that actually these kinds of initiatives survive. And in order to make sure that these kinds of initiatives survive, all kinds of institutions, including state institutions, including NGOs, including, different kinds of solidarity economy, organizations, we all need to help. We all need to be present in this endeavor.
I worked with a gentleman from Palestine a couple years ago on a virtual event that we did. And basically he had started a consortium of Palestinian olive growers and producers. And what this gentleman did was actually work with a group of growers, and he built a product that was going to be directly sold into the market in the United States. Cooperatives need leadership, and you need someone who's willing to take the lead to organize. It's not an easy feat. Organizing groups of people is extraordinarily difficult. Organizing a group of growers is outrageously difficult. And so you need a strategy, and you need a strong vision of what that's going to look like and what it's going to be.
And while sustainability is about global futures, the immediate challenge of sustaining life itself reminds us that our conversations must be both global and deeply personal. Our collective endeavour must pivot from grand global gestures to intimate local actions, ensuring every person can not only survive, but thrive. As for Adiyaman, one thing remains clear. The road to strengthen a sustainable economy is a journey fueled by unity, determination, and an unwavering belief in a brighter tomorrow.